Hello, good afternoon everybody. We are back to class and today we are going to discuss our government. Okay, class 6 pupils, as we have learned in our normal lessons, we have the government, our government. When we say our government, this is the government of the United Republic of Tanzania. It is the government belonging to each and every person found in Tanzania. It is the government controlling our country. So the word our simply stands for Tanzania, Tanzanian government. It is the government belonging to us. That's why we say our government. What is a government? A government is a group of people with authority to run an institution or a state. There are various institutions which are having governance. Or as a state, our country Tanzania is a state. It is a country having its government. As I said, our stands for Tanzania, which means it is the government belonging to people of Tanzania. Being the people of Tanzania, we call it ours. So the Tanzanian government, or the Tanzania government, is made up of three main organs. There are three organs which, when comes together, we find our government. And these are the executive, the parliament, and judiciary. This executive works together or hand in hand with the parliament, or hand in hand with the judiciary. When all their functions are put together, the government of the United Republic of Tanzania runs smoothly. Okay, by starting with the executive. Executive is the main organ controlling the government. It is the main organ controlling the government simply because it is the organ having the highest state leaders. It has the president, it has the vice president, it has the prime minister, and it is also having the president of Zanzibar as part of the government, of executive, I mean. Then it also has the cabinet. Cabinet is made of the ones that we'll be discussing in the next slide. So it is the main organ controlling the government. This is now the structure of this executive of Tanzania. The structure, how it looks. The government of Tanzania is formed or is structured the way you see in this video. There is this president, vice president, the president of Zanzibar, the prime minister, and ministers. Together, this is what we call executive. The president. Why is the president on top? President is on top because he is the head of the government. Being the head of the whole government makes or puts the president to be on top of the executive structure. The president is assisted by the vice president. The vice president, this is the principal assistant to the president, and that's why if you look at these two leaders, they are almost in the same level. If you compare the distribution of this, the chart, there is vice president, then on the other side, there is president of Zanzibar. According to the constitution of Tanzania, there is a president of Zanzibar who is particularly dealing with the matters of Zanzibar. Remember, our country, United Republic of Tanzania, is made up of two parts. These two parts is the mainland and the Zanzibar. So, Zanzibar being part of the United Republic of Tanzania, it has its president, and that's why, as you can see in the structure here, he or she is also, by the way, the president of Zanzibar is a male, so we simply say he, president of Zanzibar, is the head of the Zanzibar government. So that makes president to be in the same level as the vice president, though the president of Zanzibar is only dealing with matters of Zanzibar, matters which do not concern with the Union or United Republic of Tanzania. Under these two leaders, there is prime minister, then there are ministers. Remember, this vice president is of the United Republic of Tanzania, the whole of this territory called United Republic of Tanzania. President is also for the whole United Republic of Tanzania. President of Zanzibar is also in this executive, though is dealing with matters that do not concern with the Union. Then Prime Minister is also there for the whole of United Republic of Tanzania. Then there are ministers. Please, class 6, this is the structure of the executive, leaders who are found in this highest administrative organ of the state. The President of Tanzania is the head of government, as we have said previously. He is also the head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Tanzania. The President also is the chairman of the cabinet. Why do we call the President the head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces? As the state is, as the pillars of the state, we have the government, we have people, and we have territory. President, being the head of all those, makes him to be the head of the, to be the commander-in-chief of all armed forces in Tanzania. Remember, we have the police force, we have Tanzania People's Defense Force, we have Tanzania prisons, we have the migration departments and other forces which are dealing with the security and defense of our country. President is the commander-in-chief, is the one giving last command or the final command over all these armed forces of the United Republic of Tanzania. Also, you have said here that the President is the chairman of the cabinet. There is something called cabinet. The cabinet, though it is somewhere there as we continue with our discussion, but let's say it here. President is the chairperson or is the chairman of the cabinet. The cabinet, this is an organ which is comprised of the President as the chairperson, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, as the structure of that executive shows. It has the President of Zanzibar and all ministers of the United Republic of Tanzania. But also, there is Attorney General there. We'll see it as we continue with our discussion. After the President, or under the President, there is Vice President. This Vice President, the Vice President is the principal assistant to President in respect of all matters in the United Republic of Tanzania. He or she performs all duties and functions of the President when the President is out of office or out of the state. President might be out of office due to illness or issues that cannot be expressed. So when President is out of the office, or when the President is ill, or when the President is out of the country, automatically the Vice President will take the control and all functions of the President. And that's why we say here, he or she. But our Vice President is a female. So we say, she performs all duties and functions of the President when the President is out of the office or out of the country. Under the Vice President, we have the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister of the United Republic is appointed by the President. This is the first executive leader who is appointed. The President and the Vice are elected by citizens of Tanzania, but this Prime Minister is appointed by the President. The Prime Minister position is obtained through presidential appointment. After the Prime Minister is appointed by the President, the appointment is approved by the majority vote or by the resolution of members of the Parliament, which means after the appointment of the President, the appointment is taken with the Parliament, then it will be approved by the majority of voters. We say here, his appointment must be confirmed by resolution of the National Assembly, supported by the majority vote of the members of that National Assembly. So, Prime Minister, first of all, for one to be Prime Minister, he or she must be an elected member of Parliament. He or she must be a member of Parliament by election. A person who is elected by citizens from a constituency is the one who is appointed by the President, and that appointment is taken to the Parliament for the approval. Approval is done through voting, which means after the President has appointed the Prime Minister, the appointment is taken to the Parliament, and it is upon members of Parliament to either agree or to refuse through this voting. The Prime Minister has authority over control and supervision, and also execution of day-to-day functions and affairs of the government of the United Republic, and is also the leader of government business in the National Assembly. The National Assembly is the Parliament. The National Assembly is the Parliament. Parliament is made of members of Parliament, and these members of Parliament are from political parties. These members being from political parties, Prime Minister plays a big role there in representing or heading government activities in the Parliament. After the Prime Minister there, we come to this Cabinet. As I said before, Cabinet is having these members here: the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the President of Zanzibar, and all the ministers of the United Republic of Tanzania. President is chairing all these cabinet meetings. In case the President is not there, the Vice President will preside over all meetings of the cabinet. And in case both President and the Vice President are not there, the cabinet meetings will be presided over by the Prime Minister. But also in this cabinet, there is a Attorney General. Attorney General is also there. There is an Attorney General for the Government of the United Republic. He is also mentioned in this part of the cabinet. He is appointed by the President of the United Republic of Tanzania. The Attorney General attends all the cabinet meetings, though he or she is not having rights to vote in the cabinet elections. He is there as the government lawyer. He is the one who is advising the government in the issues that are concerning with their law issues or legal matters. The Attorney General is responsible for advising the government of the United Republic in all matters of the law. So we can simply say the government lawyer is the Attorney General. Remember, the Attorney General is also a member of Parliament. He or she is becoming a member of Parliament due to the office of the Attorney General. So we simply say Attorney General is a member of Parliament by the virtue of the office that he is heading. Therefore, that makes the end of our lesson for today. But remember, the structure of the government of Tanzania is having executive, and all we have discussed today is all about the executive. We have added the Attorney General because he's also playing a very big role in ensuring that executive functions are performed well.